Welcome to 4th, 5th, and 6th grade music. Your students are going to have quite an experience in these classes. They start off with recorders, these wonderful little plastic instruments that can sound so sweet. And they're not going to be bringing home their recorders until the end of the year to make sure that they sound only sweet. But if you could please, parents, send in your $6 the first week of school so we could go ahead and get that going. Because these three classes, maybe not all three of them, but at least two of them will play recorders in the Christmas program. And the other one, the other class, whichever it is, will play chimes, those wonderful hand chimes. Your kids will have other wonderful experiences with instruments, including percussion, including drums. And, of course, they get to strum a guitar. Parents, I just want to let you know, if you have a talented child singing, playing guitar, playing an instrument, even praise dancing, please let me know. I'd love to know that so I could include that in our studies this year. Well, the first semester we start out, of course, with recorders, but singing. And these three grades, of course, 4th grade, we just start, 5th grade more, 6th grade even more, to learn the proper posture, breathing, very important. But what we also do in these grades is we learn what's called solfege, and that's making the hand signs for the different notes. It's a precursor to learning how to sight read. And that is so important because sight reading means that they can pick up a piece of music, and by just knowing their different even hand signs and the pitches to match, they could pretty well read a little piece of music. And that's very important. We, of course, put a great emphasis on our Christmas songs, including researching the biblical background, pulling out our Bibles, looking at it, and really finding out the whole story. And then one of the things I really love to start with is national songs. Star Spangled Banner is, of course, the first one on my list. But this year, I want to add Texas, Our Texas, because that's a cool song, too, just to give them an idea, a little bit more of, where they live, the culture they live in, and, of course, the United States. We will also be studying various composers, starting with the big three, Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart. And Bach, I always point out to them, we do him first because everything he did in his life was for the glory of God, all of his music. He came from a long line of musicians, and 5 of his sons were successful musicians. He did everything, every step he took. And yet in our music theory, the background to the music, he is the one that gave us the foundation for a lot of the practices we use still today. And speaking of theory, these grades will learn and will be able to create little rhythms, little beats, and, of course, little melodies. And that's, again, where the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do works so well for them. And, of course, we visit a little bit of rap later on. Only Christian rap, though. We rap the Bible. Another thing that we do a lot of in here is, of course, we make sure we know the different instruments, the different sounds. And come second semester, the very first thing we do is an in-depth study of the science of sound. And it's not just, for these grades, it's not just knowing, when the vibrations are too loud or too soft. We actually work on graphs, showing how to show if it's louder. We talk about decibels. We talk about, volume. We talk about, low sounds, high sounds. And then, of course, we do some experiments with it. And at the last quarter of the year, our 6th graders will study in depth different genres of music. And we actually last year made a kind of a fun little project that they came up and showed their classmates, each of them, and it was a wonderful experience. Fifth graders, we will go along with their history book at the end, especially when they study Russia, but not just Russia, but we will go through the Western and the Eastern music so that they can get a feel more of what was and is going on, but really as it ties into the politics, because patriotic music is what has saved a lot of people and a lot of things in Russia, especially under communism. And then our fourth graders, that last quarter is where they make green instruments. In other words, recycled items. And we try to make them play so that we can give a little concert to Mrs. Bettis. And so that would then bring us through the whole year. First semester, these classes meet twice a week. And second semester, they meet once a week. So you can see why our first part of the year is so more packed. But your kids are awesome. Thank you for sending them here. I just love teaching them all and just can't wait for the first day of school.